Hi everyone, it's Dawn. I recently made this card and I thought I would share it with you. I'm going to be using this stamp set called Geared Up Garage, and I will be using the stamps, the car, All Geared Up to Celebrate, You Jumpstart My Heart, and this little old blotchy thing. I'm also going to be using Night of Navy and Whisper White ink, and Night of Navy and Whisper White cardstock. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to take this piece of Night of Navy cardstock, and this is cut 3.5 by 2. I am starting with the car stamp and the Whisper White ink. I still have some of the older style ink pads. Still trying to complete my collection of the new ones, but these are just as well to use until I do. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp this on here. Now this Whisper White is a little bit of a thicker ink, so I'm just going to set this aside because it does take a little while to dry. A little bit longer than our regular classic inks. So let's see. To clean this, I am using these chamois wipes. I still use my Stampin' Mist spray and scrubber, but I do like to use these. These are fairly new, and as you can see, they're reusable. They stain, but they don't transfer the ink anymore after it's soaked in. So I'm just going to clean that off. And these come in a full sheet. As you can see, I use it quite often, and I just cut mine in half just to make it easier to work with. They do come in a full sheet like this, and it's hard. And then once you wet it to make it more soft and pliable and keep it moist. I probably should break open the new one, but like I said, they still have quite a bit of life left in them. So let's see, the next thing I'm going to do is take this smaller piece of Whisper White cardstock, and this is cut at 2.5 by 2, I believe. And I'm going to use the Night of Navy ink, and I took the two sentiments and I just stacked them above each other, on top of each other, and centered them. I'm just going to ink that up and then just stamp this right in the center. Okay. And again, I'm going to use my chamois to get that cleaned. Okay, I'm going to set that aside for a minute. And then I'm going to take a piece of Whisper White, which I'll use as the front of the card, the layer. And this is your typical 5 1/4 by 4. And I'm going to use this stamp that's, I guess it's an oil spill maybe, or I don't know. I just kind of liked it to use as a background. I'm going to be using the Night of Navy. And now you do want to have some scratch paper nearby because we're going to be stamping off a little bit. So I'm just going to ink that up. And I'm going to randomly stamp this around. Now you want some dark. And then I'm also going to stamp off and get the edges. I'm just kind of randomly placing this around, covering the whole sheet, alternating between the light and the dark. Okay, I think that's good. Now I'm going to set that aside. And I'm cleaning off my stamp. Okay, and that is all of the stamping we're going to do. Now I see this is still a little bit wet, so I'm just going to flip it over, and then I'm just going to press on it a little bit just to try and get some of the excess ink off of it. Okay. I'm going to take my card base, which is Night of Navy, and this is your typical piece of cardstock, which is 8.5 by 11. So this is just cut in half at 5.5, and then I did score it at 4 1/4, just to make it easier. I'm using my little bone folder to make a nice crisp edge. I'm going to take this and add my adhesive. And then I'm just going to center this on here. I'm going to take my sentiment and another piece of the Night of Navy cardstock. And this is just cut 1/8 of an inch bigger. So this is cut at 2 5/8 by 2 1/8. And I'm just gonna, again, just rub this a little bit to get off any extra ink. And then add some adhesive. And then just center this on here. Okay. Now I'm gonna take my car. It still looks like it's a little bit wet. You could take a heat gun if you have one, or just wave it around and wait for it to dry. I think what I'll do is I'll just flip it over, see if I could get some of the excess off of it. And carefully pick it up so it doesn't smear. Now I'm just going to add adhesive. And then add this to a piece of Whisper White, which is cut just 1/8 of an inch bigger. I'm just going to center that on there. Now I'll add adhesive to the back. I'm going to make sure I have the opening correct. And then just add this to the front. And for the sentiment, I'm going to take some of the foam dimensionals. I'm just going to put a few of them on the back. Peel those off. And then just put this right here and press it down. Now for the inside, since this is a dark color, I'm just going to take another piece of the Whisper White to put in here. And again, this is cut at 5 1/4 by 4. I'll just write my sentiment on there, happy anniversary. Probably write something snarky. Hubby's been wanting a classic car, so I'll probably write something like, this is as close as you're gonna get to one, or something. But so that's it. That is my card for today. Again, it's using the stamp set all geared up. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.